Hello, my name is Balaji. I'm representing Carbon Stride along with my colleagues. So we are a wildcard entry here, so you wouldn't find our name of the organization. My question is to Manu Srivastava about, very glad to hear about that rooftop solar. Now, is that being replicated across the other states as well? And I've been reading about something called as the energy democracy. Energy democracy. Now, is that some way of, is it a stepping stone towards energy democracy? Very keen to know about this and take it to Tamil Nadu, which is our state I'm representing here. Thank you.
Well, it would be, the energy democracy, and that is one of the reasons why I've got interested in the project. As far as the replication is concerned, it is, I would not really say it's very effective. I gave the example of two projects. So I would illustrate the difference between them and how does it impact the replicability. So when we did the Riva solar project, what Government of India did was that they issued subsequently something called standard bidding guidelines. And they formally notified it and said that all above 5 megawatt projects in India are now bound to adhere to that. So that has largely led to standardization of conditions, and you can see the prices have fallen thereafter. However, in case of rooftop, there was no such initiative. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy circulated our project documents to all the states. But they were given the same importance as numerous letters sent from one office to the other are. Frankly, even I can't manage to read all the letters that come. So, I'm not casting a finger at everyone. I'm unable to read. There's so much dark that comes. So, I also went to various states trying to convince them. I personally traveled. There were lulls in, when there was not too much happening in the state. Till now, but as a concentrated effort, I've only seen that NITI Aayog is working. I'm working with NITI Aayog to try to replicate this project to set up solar rooftop projects on health institutions all over the country. Apart from this, there have been various initial steps, but I can't really say that it has really been replicated by any of the states or even by GUI organizations like SECI, etc.
Umesh Kashikar representing JCB here, JCB India. We have installed and done some work on rooftop solar in our facilities. But we have our facilities in 4 states. So different states have different policies in the solar thing. Now we have experienced that because the state government has got a fixed asset about the transmission and distribution, so there are some wheeling charges and additional charges going on along with the, even if we install our solar, we still have to pay that. Now how do you see this as a scenario to, whether it incentivizes or it demotivates the industry to use rooftop solars? Thank you.
I would agree with you. There has been a lot of dissonance amongst various states. The Government of India has issued recently electricity rights of consumers rules. Though, I would say it is more about what it prohibits than what it allows. Because, I have very often tried to argue that there is no law which stops you from using a diesel generator. You can use as much diesel generator you want, and Government of India does nothing to stop you. But when it comes to rooftop solar, there is so much restriction that net metering is only till 500 kilowatt, etc. So I would agree with you that the electricity right of consumers rules have not been adopted fully by most states. That is one problem. The rules by themselves are not very pro-renewable. And I would agree with you that frankly speaking, whatever the lip service that might be paid. But if you look at the actual regulations, there is no incentive being given to solar when it comes to rooftop. There are only, if only there were to be a level playing field. Even then, at least rooftop solar would roll forward much more easily. So, and I also add that if you move on to open access, but if we're talking of that, because I've been part of sectors, I can really say that the surcharge has actually increased as the solar prices have dipped. So really speaking, the solar plus the surcharge is always consciously kept to be more than the grid price. So it is not an accident. It is a conscious attempt So very often I, think of it as an Urdu couplet which says, "Gair mumkin hai halat ki guthi ko suljana." It's impossible to, sort of solve the knot that's been tied. दानिशमंदों ने बहुत सोच के उलझाया है. So the wise people have knotted up very carefully. So it's not an accident that solar plus surcharge is costlier than grid power. It's intentionally kept. So really speaking, yes, but I mean, I can only say that 500 kilowatt at least it is doable. 500 kilowatt is not much when it comes to industry. I fully appreciate that. But at least for various organizations, we can move ahead. But I agree with you that if there is no restriction for diesel genset, you can use as much diesel genset you want. But for solar, we say that we can't have it, above 500 kilowatt. I think there is a problem. Just one I would add to what you said in Tamil Nadu. I personally have been working in my personal capacity with various states to work. So, I mean, if in case I can do anything, I'm more than happy to do it.
So now I am coming to this net zero summits. I have one question. That India being the solar power, most of the time we have got the solar energy or the sun as such that the main energy. There is a huge volume of opportunity and profits. And we are just wanted to know about the maintenance part of the solar panels, because it is becoming difficult. We have installed our solar panels in township as well, also doing in the industrial sector, in the refineries and all that. So how we are going to have a dynamic maintenance of that, the solar panels, considering that the climates are changing very fast. There's a cyclone in Odisha, you will find most of the time, every year there is a cyclone. So what are the gadgets, what are the inbuilt systems or the program, that is inbuilt programs, so that they dynamically clean the panels? Thank you very much.
Well, there is a lot of technology for cleaning. I mean, there is robotic cleaning. A lot of things are, but I mean, it's a longer reply, but I've just tried to sum it up very briefly, that the model, at least I have tried to educate, is the OPEX or the PPP model, where that risk and the responsibility is entirely with the developer, and the developer is paid only and only for the energy generated. So it is in the developer's scope to clean the panel and maintain the panel. The biggest disaster that I see for as solar projects are capex-based government projects, because government, I mean, government does many things badly, but the thing that the government does most badly is maintaining things. So, so the worst projects that I've seen are really capex-based government projects. You could see it in so many buildings in Delhi also, on various secretariats. Money spent, no one even cleans the panels. Whereas the model in the developer-based system is that as developer is paid only and only for the energy generated. So even if there is a unit lost because of some bird dropping or lack of cleaning, the developer suffers. So developers make sure that there is cleaning. So I think that is a far better model. We have to take the grid power with the solar power, existing power, like the state governments, they have their own power. So how do we take the grid power so that we can commercially use the system for our benefit? Thank you very much. But most of these projects are grid connected, whether it's a mega project or rooftop project. Most of these projects are grid connected. So if there are periods in which your production exceeds your consumption, you inject in the grid. And the idea of net metering is that whatever is injected in that period, it's accounted for when in the evening or the night hours you take power. So the bill that you get at the end of the month is the energy imported minus the energy exported. That is classically the definition of net metering. Because government of India is trying to have the solar powers in Navi Mumbai, I mean Maharashtra and everywhere, they are having a lot of challenge also. But what wanted to know, probably refineries. In all refineries, we are finding that the power requirement is more. So whether we will be able to balance this system so that we can continuously operate, there will be no interruption. Thank you very much.
Yeah, one of the problem with rooftop solar is that, the most rich fellows have roofs. And therefore, the more paying customers go out of the grid. And obviously, the grids have incentive to keep this cross-subsidy surcharge as high as possible. My suggestion would be that why don't we say that if you are installing a rooftop, your capacity charges would be higher because I have to keep this idle capacity to meet your charges whenever you are not having a solar generation, you're relying on my grid, which is now working only 20% rather than 80% of the time earlier.
True, sir. Most regulators are now breaking up the consumer charges into fixed charges and variable charges. And the higher fixed charges is essentially the same idea that you're saying. Because, see, this problem is not only for a rooftop, it's also for open access. So the same challenge really exists. So it makes sense to have a fixed charge and a variable charge. Most industrial, commercial, and domestic consumers have both. But increasingly, the breakup should perhaps reflect higher capacity charge or a fixed charge.